Thank you for joining us again here at Get Ready News. I'm Mark Lindsted. This is my brother David Lindsted, and we'd like to talk a little bit about the news this last week through the lens of the Bible.
Absolutely. A lot of things have gone on, and it's always good to look at these things through a biblical or at least a Christian worldview.
Yes, yeah. I don't even know how you cover all the news without having a 24-hour channel, I guess.
Absolutely. Things are just coming down the pipe fast and furious. I used to complain that Obama was the king of hammering a bunch of stuff to make you look one way while he did something on the backside. And Trump, I think, is going all out every direction.
It never ceases to amaze me that he can take the wind out of the sails of an entire room with one sentence, and nobody has any idea what the sentence is going to be till it comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, he definitely commands a presence, and he's usually right in what he's saying.
Yeah, I just remember watching the press conference with him and Netanyahu talking about Gaza, and when he said, "America will own Gaza," you could have heard a pin drop.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think anybody had any idea that that's what he was going to say.
No, and he said compared it to the Riviera. He wants to make it a destination place, and I think that some of the states over there are starting to warm up to that idea because there is money to be made for them in that sector.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a interesting concept, and from what I understand, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, may have spun the idea to begin with.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that a bit, and some people have said that, a guy like Jared Kushner could be a great candidate for someone like the Antichrist.
I almost have to agree with that. And, I've always thought that there's going to be some type of leading city or area in the Middle East that the Antichrist is going to kind of inhabit. And, Gaza Strip kind of fits that bill, puts him pretty close to the temple.
Yeah, well, I always thought it might be Ur.
Yeah, or I thought even the old Babylon.
Yeah. So, but I do think I think also that the Antichrist will rule from an area in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I think that's the hotbed of activity. That's where the peace is going to come for Israel.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be a major scene, as it were.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I've got a lot of friends, and I think even Dr. Lindsted thinks the Antichrist will be a Jew.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I could go to the Bible and prove that, but I don't think that it couldn't be a Jew.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree with you, though. It couldn't be a Muslim. I don't think a Muslim could
There's
do
some people out there who would like to say it might be a Muslim, but I don't think that's possible. I don't think the Jewish people would follow a Muslim.
No, I don't think so either.
But there's guys like Amos Hochstein, who is a Jewish-born person in an Arab world, and there's all kinds of little things. So I don't think it'll be a Muslim person. Yeah. I don't necessarily think it will be a Jew for sure.
Right.
But it's a possibility.
Yeah, and I don't know that it really matters. And the other thing you could say is the Antichrist will not be revealed until we are removed. So we're not going to even be here to see the revealing of who the Antichrist is. So all we can do is make assumptions right now.
Well, talking about Trump saying things that might be against what other people might want to talk about, the other day he said that if all of the hostages are not released by Saturday, there's going to be a problem. Yeah,
and it's about time. And the thing that I want to say about that is, if they are not, there better be a response.
Yeah.
If we don't respond now, we will lose the foothold of what we've got right now.
Well, the interesting thing was, I think Netanyahu in this article here says he says he'll stick to the original agreement even though Trump is causing confusion. So are we seeing a break between Trump and Netanyahu on this? Or is this the long game, the chess game, while we're looking at a checkerboard that we don't see?
That's a good call. Trump is the master of deception. As far as it goes that way, it's the art of the deal.
Yeah.
And I think that he and Bibi are really pretty close.
Yeah,
regardless of this. And like you said, that I could see the 4D, 5D chess coming out there. But also, I think Trump really has super confidence in himself that he
Yeah.
can fix this problem.
Well, I keep thinking back to, I want to say there was a terrorist of some kind. I can't remember who it was now, but Trump said, "Oh, we're not going to bother you now. We're done looking for you," and pulled out. And the very next day, they just went in and annihilated the entire band of terrorists.
Yeah, he's pretty shrewd when it comes to business dealings, and he's running the government like a business.
Yeah. So my curiosity is that Trump's over here swinging this tambourine. Netanyahu says, "No, no, 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 that's not it." And while everyone's looking at both of these tambourines, there's going to be a
IDF or IAF.
there's going to be a SEAL team that goes in there and wipes out some silly people for doing stupid stuff.
My problem is I tend to think that most of the hostages are dead.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons they're not just releasing them, because they have no one to really release.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think they realize that if they don't have hostages of any kind, they have no more negotiation because they're very weak militarily.
Yep.
So
I agree with that.
the only thing that they've got.
And the thing that I have to keep saying is, if nothing happens by the deadline, something better happen.
Yes.
Because the Muslims and those people in that area will look at that as a sign of weakness.
Yes.
And from then on, there is no negotiation will be made.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've even got some news even on our side of the pond, right?
Oh yeah.
We got some lawmakers, some members of Congress that I think act like they're kind of worried that they might have information against them.
I think it was Maxine Waters that was trying to tell everybody, we don't know what they have on us. Well, that's almost a telltale sign of there's a problem over here.
Well, I don't know how much longer she's going to hang on. She already looks like the crypt keeper.
Oh yeah.
But here's one of the things that I don't understand about Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and these other people. Throughout my life voting, I've been voting for coming up on 30 years now. I have never voted for the same person repeatedly just because of the party that they are. I have voted against my party sometimes because the person has said things I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And how do these people keep getting reelected?
That's a good point, because I think back through my voting career, which is just about another 5 years on top of yours.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anybody I voted for, just maybe one person twice in a row.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's always been different, or who I thought was the best person for the job, But then I also look at the last elections and how much I think there's so much corruption in our system.
Yeah.
And I think that some of these places, they have this nailed down.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't it the AOC that they redistrict her district so that she would win again?
So she would win again, yeah, because she was going to fall short.
Yep.
They changed her district. Here's the sad thing about this, though. AOC, she's a prime example of, she's making, $150,000, $170,000 a year.
Yep.
Her net worth after being in Congress for 4 or 5 years is $30 million.
Yeah, and she was complaining about not being able to afford an apartment.
And she was elected by 12,000 votes.
Yeah.
That's all she got.
How did that happen?
How does 12,000 votes justify a person sitting in Congress?
Exactly, and that's a good question. And then I look at, I think it was Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, but Elizabeth Warren, I think they said she's making 200,000, and she's worth millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars now.
Yeah,
and even Bernie, our resident communist. And he's taken advantage of the capitalist system.
Mr. 3 or 4 mansion Bernie, who's a communist. He's a true communist at heart.
Yes.
The leaders can have things you can't.
That's right.
And that's really where his alliances are. In fact, he took Kennedy pointed out that he took the most big pharma money than anybody.
Yep, he was the biggest one, and the next one under him was Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see. But, this Congress, and I'm not going to say that the Republicans aren't corrupt. Please don't ever get me wrong with that. I used to have that delusion. I don't have that delusion anymore. But I have never seen one side of Congress, whether Republican or Democrat, do what the Democrats are doing right now. It's really ridiculous standing in front of these agencies.
Yeah, you know, this is what they asked for years and years.
Yeah.
For years, we want to balance the budget, to find this spending, and here we are doing it. And someone had made an analogy of like a girlfriend finding out the boyfriend's cheating, and she's going through his phone in the bathroom, and he's making all these excuses and throwing a fit on the outside of the door. And I kind of see the same thing going on with the Democrats.
Here's what I want to know: if a Democrat walks into the federal education building, a congressman, what can he do from there that he can't do from sitting behind his desk trying to rewrite the bill to make it right?
Nothing. He can't do anything.
So what was it to go down there? It was all a show.
Absolutely.
And I think that they're finding out that the education department, they're finding out that the USAID, they're finding out all these places are money kickbacks to those who are willing to play the game.
Absolutely. And I think this is where the money is making it back to them in their pocket. They're putting money out for things they allocate in here. And I'll bet you there wasn't a transsexual play made somewhere. If it was a fraction of the cost, you know. And that money's making it back. The thing that I find interesting is there was one congresswoman, and she goes on and she says she's looking for someone that can help censor Americans so that we can make progress. And they're trying to say that Elon Musk and Trump are horrible people, but 55% of the American people back what is happening with Doge right now.
That's interesting because to make progress, we have to silence people.
Yes, that's what she said, and we can always link that video in the description, or I'll put it on the screen.
How does silencing people make progress? I'm curious about that.
Well, you know, it's something that we call misinformation. You know, we need to silence the people that are giving misinformation or information we don't agree with.
We don't agree with.
That's probably the better.
It's not our party line we're towing.
That's right.
So we need to stop them from talking because we can't have opposing views discussed. We need you to be programmed with our view so you'll do what we tell you to do.
And, you know, here we have Facebook supposed to be opening up with community notes. And I don't know how much of that's real or a play or whatever, but it could be real, you know.
Yeah, I think that Zuckerberg is caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yes.
And I think he's trying to appeal to everybody. And I don't think we'll ever know what he truly thinks about any of it.
That is probably a very true statement.
But it's interesting to see what's really going on with them. I mean, like you were talking earlier, Maxine Waters said, well, we don't know what they have on us.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. If you're not corrupt, they shouldn't have anything on you.
Exactly. You should be fine with this.
And to see people angry at the person that's discovering wasteful spending rather than being angry at the wasteful spending shows me that 2 Timothy 3. I mean, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, and they're ever learning and never coming to the truth, and people would rather have evil than the truth.
Yeah. And I think that you find that when people accuse others of doing stuff, it's typically them themselves doing it.
Well, you know, we found out from the Russiagate, or whatever you want to call it, that this dossier on Trump's horrible actions in Russia, which I don't even know when he was there to perform any of these actions. I mean, I think that anybody with a level head and reasonable thinking realizes from the very beginning the Russia dossier was totally fictitious and made up. But they're sitting there pointing at Trump, Russia, 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 Russia. Who paid for it, and who's colluding with the Russia to do this?
Wasn't it the Hillary that paid for it?
campaign?
Yep.
And all these times they talk about, oh, Trump, he shouldn't even be president because he wouldn't recognize the election of 2020. Well, Hillary walked around for 10 years telling, well, he's not really the president.
Yep.
He was helped by Russia getting in
Yep.
there.
It's unbelievable, the double standard and the accusation. So if somebody like that comes out with an accusation, now my first thought is they are guilty of that very thing, and they should be investigated.
Yeah.
Now, some of these news agencies need to be held accountable too. And here's a prime example. So Rachel Maddow came out and said that the U.S. government is supposed to buy $400 million worth of armored Teslas. And she was going on and on about how this is the way Trump is getting a kickback to Elon Musk and how all this is going to work. Guess what? That was slated before Trump was in office. That was done by Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Because he commissioned what? We will have zero emissions.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you, these people, I guess I should be more precise with my commentation. Those who would rather have the lie will say just about anything.
Absolutely.
And here's the interesting part of this to me. And this proves to be that Rachel Maddow is not a news person.
Exactly.
Period.
Yep.
Think about this just for a moment. A $400 million contract to buy Teslas that are armored.
Yeah.
So a Tesla, if it's a Cybertruck, let's just say it's a Cybertruck, average price $100,000.
Yeah.
Armored's probably $150,000. We're probably paying $200,000 a piece for them. Okay, so $50,000 per vehicle. After it goes through all the process of making money and whatnot, profit and loss, how much money is Elon really making on each one of those vehicles?
Yeah. Who knows? We don't know.
Think about this, though. The difference between a million and a billion. So 1 million seconds is roughly 11 and a half days. 1 billion seconds is 32,000 years.
Wow. That kind of puts it in perspective, the big, vast difference.
So think about this. What I'm getting at here is what kind of a kickback is Elon getting? He's got $400 billion, right?
Yep.
Do you think he cares about a $400 million contract?
Probably not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, sure, any contract's nice, but it's a drop in the water, comparatively speaking.
The man could lose $100 billion and not even notice it.
Yeah.
He could lose $350 billion, and his lifestyle wouldn't change.
Yep.
I mean, so what type of kickback do you think he's getting off of a $400 billion? This is the most ridiculous idea of a kickback I've ever seen.
Yeah, and here's the next thing, and this was done by the Young Turks. The Young Turks actually pointed Rachel Maddow out as incorrect. Trump has stopped that purchase, and Elon is still working for Trump, and they're still good friends. They're good.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day of Elon and his young son X.
Yep.
In the Oval Office, that people were trying to act like Trump was very dissatisfied with him because he's very stoic sitting in the chair while they're playing and talking. I don't think that's it at all.
Nope.
I think Trump was listening to the conversation. He was trying. That's what happens. I hate to say this, but when you're paying attention to a conversation, guess what? Sometimes your face doesn't have a lot of expression. You're trying to make sense of the information that's coming in. You're not preparing your answer. So most people, in my opinion, we talk about emotional responses to factual conversation. Most people's face changes a lot when they're thinking of the answer before they even hear the rest of the question.
True. And, you know, the thing that I found very interesting and refreshing was that Trump let Elon field the questions.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're talking directly to the guy who's doing the work. And there was one thing that Elon had said, and that was the $50 million worth of condoms did not go to Gaza.
Yeah.
It went to an African country supposedly to help with the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
And Elon said, we made a mistake there, but it's still $50 million of American tax money going to another country.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like the phrase, why do we send money to countries that hate us?
Yes. Yep.
I think it's okay that they can hate us for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't pay them to hate me. They can hate me anyway. And the understanding of how all this political money goes back and forth and how the U.S. is paying, even like Africa, for instance, there's several countries in Africa that we pay millions and millions of dollars monthly to so that the dictator won't slaughter his people and won't kill them. You know what? I know it's a heartless thing to probably say this, but maybe we should stop paying him. Yeah. Because if he kills his people, he's got no one to rule over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just holding things hostage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have goodness in your heart, you can be manipulated easily. Not that we shouldn't have goodness by any means, but you have to be careful that you're just not being manipulated.
Well, to me, it's a slope that we put ourselves on.
Yep.
The old analogy is a slippery slope. It keeps getting larger and larger and larger. And I'm tired. My opinion of this is I'm tired of America borrowing money from enemies to give to other enemies and footing the bill for everybody else's lifestyle but our own.
Yep. And this will get your goat. It looks like a total of $22.6 billion with a B dollars was given in cash assistance to illegal aliens to buy cars, to buy houses, and to help them start businesses.
So this was the report that I saw. I didn't know exactly where the number came from, the 2.7 billion, somewhere in that.
22.6 billion.
22.6 billion, that's what it was. And I saw an article this morning, or I think it might have been a video, and they were saying that's $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in America.
Yep.
And someone said, well, $8,000 is nothing. Okay, your family has 3 people at home, right?
Right.
So that's how much?
24.
Would $24,000 make a difference in your life right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
$8,000 would make a difference in my life right now.
Yeah.
But to think about all this money going out to people who are just here illegally using
people that broke our law.
Yeah.
I love the new press secretary.
Yeah.
Well, which one of them are criminals? All of them.
All of them.
I mean, they all broke the law.
They all broke the law. Well, one of the things that I kind of wanted to round back around to as we talked a little bit about the Gaza Strip and Trump and hostages, and we saw a big press conference with Netanyahu and with Trump, and the main focus of that press conference was peace and safety. And I think the whole thing was talked about tranquility and peace and love and all this stuff. And it really reminds me, if we go into 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, and it says here, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." I tell you, it says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief."
Right.
And so that's our assurance that that's not coming for us, but it is coming for those who aren't believers. And so many times we hear about Trump being kind of a savior, as it were.
Yeah.
But, I think he's another cog in the wheel that the Antichrist will use. And we can see the promise of peace and safety. And I think this is going to promote whoever is going to confirm this treaty with this covenant with Israel and allow them to return to sacrifice.
I think Trump is paving the way for this. And don't get me wrong, I like Trump. I like what I see is happening.
Yeah.
But you can take something good and it can be used for evil.
I don't think Trump is paving the way on purpose.
No, I don't either.
I think he really is trying to bring peace. He's
Absolutely.
trying to bring a safety to the area. He's trying to do what's right for the people. And it's just like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, all these things that they've all created, AI and social media and social engineering now is the thing.
Yep.
And I don't think that all these guys were doing this stuff for pure evil.
No, I agree. I think they have good intentions.
But I think the Antichrist will use these things to control the narrative and to control the people.
It's just like Elon with the Neuralink.
Yeah.
I think that his heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
He's trying to do something fantastic for people that have lost mobility, lost things, and even, I think back to what was that movie called Johnny Mnemonic?
Yeah.
Even people wanting to enhance themselves. Now, I don't know how much I'm behind that, but it's not an evil thing that he's trying to do.
Now, I've had some people ask me, can you accidentally take the mark of the beast?
Yeah, I'm going to say absolutely not.
No. Here's the funny thing. Let's just say I was in a car wreck, God forbid, tomorrow, lost my legs, my control of my legs.
Uh-huh.
And if Elon Musk says, hey, my Neuralink will bring your legs back, and maybe some people out there think the Neuralink is the mark of the beast, I'm going to get the Neuralink if it's going to work.
Yeah.
I'm saved. I'm secure in my salvation. I'm not worried about the mark of the beast. I'm out of here before the mark of the beast becomes something that has to happen for me to buy, sell, or trade. Why would I not take advantage of the technology that would put me into walking again?
Well, that in the Bible says that all those that took the mark worshipped the beast.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that they were unbeknownst taking this mark. They took it because they wanted to take the mark.
Yeah. And I think that comes about halfway, right? When the abomination of desolation and all that kind of plays in.
The false prophet comes up.
The
and
trumpet
all
comes out and boom, 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 all the bowls come out and everything. And so I don't think you can actually take it. I think that
don't either.
Any of this technology, in my opinion, if you are a born-again believer, if you have your faith in Jesus Christ, there's nothing you can do that's going to accidentally take the mark of the beast.
Some of these businesses are putting a little computer chip under people's skin. And their business is requiring it.
Yeah.
And that's not the mark of the beast either. Now, that could be how the mark of the beast would work.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing, though. The Neuralink is here under your hair.
Yep.
The microchip is under your skin. I think the Bible is clear that it is a physical mark on the right hand or the forehead.
Exactly. And what's interesting is, and I'll have to do some research and maybe bring this, there is a tattoo that the ink itself holds data.
Yes.
And so they can give you a tattoo that has data in the ink.
Yeah. So you can't actually take the mark of the beast. We think everything we're seeing now is paving the way. We hear peace and security, but remember sudden destruction.
Yep.
So keep looking at the news. Keep looking at the news through the lens of the Bible.
Amen.
And look to Jesus as your Savior. We'll see you next week.